Are you that gardener that's looking for a beautiful backyard oasis with some gorgeous trees and that luscious peach? Well, you might be walking into a nursery thinking, oh my, those trees are way too much for me and my budget. But if you're not looking to spend that much and you don't have those strong arms to lift up those trees, let me introduce you to my friend, the bare root tree. Sure, it's a little skinny stick, but I promise you, with a little bit of love, this tree is going to become lush, productive, and produce fruit for you in a few years. But before we begin, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe, and I want to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors, Merit Medical and Red Butte Garden. The best time to buy a bare root is generally in the fall, knowing that it's going to ship sometime in the early spring of wherever you are. For me, I'm in zone 7B, and that is in March. Now, before I get into planting this beautiful thing, we're going to talk about the benefits of why you may want to go with bare root. It's generally cheaper. Now, when I'm talking cheaper, I'm talking like 30 to 50% cheaper. So that garden oasis is actually a reality. Another great benefit of bare root trees, you get varieties that you're not going to find at local nurseries. And it's less of a carbon footprint because you're not using all the plastic, all the materials. You're straight up getting a twig with some roots on it and plopping it in the ground. When you get those big, beautiful trees, that pot is enormous and it's hard to move and it's intimidating for me. I find this easier. There are a few cons. Some people have more peace of mind buying a tree in a pot that's all leafed out so you know that it's alive before you plant it, right? So that can be a con, is that you're getting a stick. The next thing is you don't have all summer to decide where am I going to put this tree. You got to plan ahead. You need to order that tree most likely in the fall, and then you got to be ready for it and remember about it when it comes in, for me, March. You need to put it in the ground ASAP. As long as I've been talking, I've been soaking. It's been like 3 hours. You actually want to soak your bare root tree for 3 hours to maximum 24 hours before planting. Just getting this tree nice and hydrated before it goes in the ground. I am looking at my roots and I'm going to determine, okay, how big do I need to make this hole? Just kind of giving a little map out where I'm going to dig. So I'm going about 2 feet wide and I'll go about 2 feet long. Right here, a lot of times you'll see fruit trees, they are grafted. And right here is the graft. This rootstock is actually not a dapple dandy. This part, the scion, is the dapple dandy. Especially on fruit trees, you want to make sure you plant this correctly. You're going to plant right at the base, right where the flare is. Time to set that to the side and let's dig ourselves a hole. And notice I'm not going to go terribly deep because the roots are not terribly deep. Now this ground is pretty saturated right now. Because it's so saturated and I have a big winter storm coming in about 3 hours, I will water this, but not as much as I generally would if I were doing this on a nice sunny day. I would probably water on a slow drip for a good solid slow drip. Slow drip for a nice hour. All right, so I'm going to look at that. Maybe a little deeper. Oh, here come the chickens. Hi, chickens. Hi, ladies. When I put my shovel down, especially when the ground's wet, I'm basically making a basin and it'll turn into cement in some form. So I want to rough up those sides a little bit to help my tree penetrate in the soil when those roots start waking up from dormancy. All right, here we go. Let's see how we're looking. Beauty. Make sure it goes up nice and straight and tall. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of soil right down here just to hold it in place. Now I'm just going to backfill this thing. I got some very non-helpful helpers coming in. Okay, ladies, move out, move out. Okay, so I'm just making sure that my flare of my tree is going to be exposed, that the roots are going in different directions. It's not just going in one clump. I'm going to do a little backfilling on this. Look how easy it is. Oh, when I plant a bare root fruit tree, I'm going to be chopping this thing down. You're going to be shocked. And because of that, oh man, and because I'm going to be chopping it down so much, I typically don't stake my fruit tree. I also will wrap burlap around my trees that are young for about 3 to 5 years in the winter, or right before winter just to prevent from sun scalding. Some people like to do it now. It depends on how harsh your sun is. The other thing that I'm now looking at my chickens and hoping that they won't do is I'm hoping that they won't dig and scratch and knock my tree over. But I might have to put a cage to protect my tree this year because of these guys. Okay, so I'm gonna look for my root flare. I'll probably pull it up just a little bit, make sure it's all planted. Then I'm gonna give it a little stomp down. Make sure I have that flare exposed. Give it a stomp and I'll do a little bit more backfilling. So I'm just lightly tugging it up, making sure it's planted deep enough, but also exposing the flare that is needed for the tree to be successful. Tree's planted. Da, 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 da. Got a little bit of a flare. Another big thing to note is I did not put any amendments on this. And honestly, my soil is good enough that I'm not concerned about putting amendments. If you are concerned about it, do not mix it in with the root ball. You can put it on the top and let it slowly seep in. Remember, this tree is just waking up in a new place, a new location, and you don't want to shock its system. You want it to blend in and move in the soil naturally. So by putting the amendments on top, it will slowly release and seep down into the soil correctly. The other big thing to note is, again, I know my soil really well, but if you don't know how well your soil drains, I highly recommend digging that hole first, pouring water into it, and make sure that the water is gone within 20 to 30 minutes max. If it stays there longer, find a new location for your tree because it's not going to live. And now I'm going to do something that is going to make you cringe. See this beautiful tall tree? Are you ready for this? I'm looking between my thigh and my knee of where I want to snip it. And yes, I am going to take it that low because I want my fruiting area from here up to the tips of my fingers. I want at least 4.5, 5 foot fruiting range. So I'm going to find a bud, and from there, are you ready for this? It's kind of scary. Don't cut where the graft is. Just kidding. Here we go. Ready? At a 45-degree angle. Oh, timber. Okay, and that's it. I planted my fruit tree. I'm going to wait for these branches to come out. I'll look for 4 nice lateral branches. Once spring hits, I'm going to say adios to this part of the stick, and I planted my fruit tree. This is why I haven't staked it or need to stake this because it's so short already. But if you're wondering, how am I supposed to keep pruning this or what it's supposed to look like, I have this fantastic video right here talking all about pruning fruit trees or peach trees specifically that can also help you know what to do if you had a pluot. Another great thing about when you prune your fruit tree or any tree, what you're doing is you're forcing those sugars that are up in here and they're shooting messages down into the root system saying, get strong, grow some fantastic roots, and send out some branches. Now, there's a lot of information that I'm just going to briefly glaze over, but you need to look this up. First off, is your tree going to fruit in your location? So if you're getting a fruit tree, especially like the apples, some of the plums, the pluots, you need to make sure it's not a self-fruiting tree, but it may need a cross-pollinator. I have a pluot that will pollinize with this great, along with an apricot and a plum. If I didn't have those 3 trees and I just put this in the ground by itself, it's not going to give you anything. You're not going to get any fruit from it. You're just going to get a beautiful tree. Next, sun. Does your tree need sun? Yes, I do. Okay, make sure that you get a full sunny location. Don't be planting a fruit tree in some shaded spot and expect fruit. Generally, if you're wanting fruit, you always need to have it in a big, sunny location. So when we're talking about location, you want to make sure that you are putting this tree where you can walk around and prune it correctly in all the spots, especially when it gets big. You're not going to run up into another tree. Or worse yet, don't be that person that plants the fruit tree right next to your fence line and all the fruits drop into your neighbor's yard. The other question I would ask is, does it need a certain amount of chill hours? This tree needs at least 400 to 500 chill hours. Now, that doesn't mean that every tree does, and you need to figure out if your area has that amount of chill time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot. Tell me, what bare root questions do you have below, or have you had success or not success? I'd love to know. See you next time.